Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you, can see you and everything.
Okay, cool. Let's just change over the channel. Perfect. We are live. Okay. So let's just have a couple of moments here. I'm just literally changing over some of the that's it, that's good. Super. Okay, so we're live. Okay, live on YouTube. So hello and welcome to everyone. We have the amazing Anita Paniotis joining us today. And Anita is a wonderful psychic medium, but not just a normal, whatever normal is, psychic medium. Anita actually communicates with the animal world, with animals, incarnated and disincarnated. So let's have and say a massive hello to Anita Paniotis. Welcome, Anita.
Hi, Kerry. It's great to be here today. Thank you for inviting me along, and I'm looking forward to our little chat around my passion of animal communication. So, hi, guys.
Super. So Anita, you know, it's such an unusual thing that you've sort of say thing, I shouldn't call it that really. It's such an unusual aspect of what you do, isn't it? The communication with animals. And you know, it's not everyone's able to sort of really do this. So Nita, just tell us about yourself. How did you get to know that you had this capability of this communication with animals? Because it's not just one particular animal, it's animals, a whole array, isn't it?
From tails to scales, as a friend of mine likes to say, is any species of animal. I like to communicate with. I always say the word try, because not every single animal may want to communicate with us. Having said that, in the whole time I've been communicating and connecting with animals, I've never actually had an animal actually not want to communicate back with me. And if you think of it like people, some people are very open, very transparent, and some people are very shy and need a lot more coaxing to actually communicate with us. So it's just being aware of different personality types, really, regardless of species.
Yeah, and I should imagine that this is do you ever get called the nickname of like Dr. Doolittle and things like this?
Mostly I'm known as the mad dog lady.
So Anita, tell us a bit about yourself, because I know you have quite a lot of dogs, nearly as many as myself. So, you know, how many dogs do you have yourself, and what sort of dogs are they? What breeds?
Well, at present, I have 8 dogs, and I have 5 Chinese crested, which are the smaller type dog, which some of you might be familiar with, some of you may not be. And basically, they look like My Little Ponies. So they come in 2 types. They come in like a hairless version with like this, there's not much hair on their body and plumes of hair on their head, on their crest, and on their feet. And then there's a powder puff, which is full coated. Now, some of you who may have watched Britain's Got Talent a few years back, and I can't remember that dog's name, unfortunately, that one went through to win, was actually part powder puff. They are highly intelligent animals. And then I have a Pharaoh hound, I have a Chineco, which is very similar to a Pharaoh hound but smaller, and I have a Doberman. But over my lifetime, I've had many different dogs in my life, and the first one, my little treasure, was Sally the Sausage. The name gives it away.
Sally the Sausage, that's fantastic. Oh my god, that's a beautiful name. So Anita, would you say that your own pets have helped you to develop this wonderful gift that you have of animal communication? Has that had an impact on you, would you say?
Mostly the most impact is actually where I really came to understand and was aware of this ability that I was able to connect with and communicate with animals was during my time, because I actually am a professional dog trainer. I don't do that so much now because I don't have the time, because as you said earlier, I do my psychic work, mediumship work. So something had to sort of like give a little bit. And I chose to sort of go along the path of the animal communication and my mediumship work. But it was during my time as a dog trainer that I actually was become aware of their disability, because the human will be saying one thing and the animal will be saying something else to me.
Yeah, I should imagine it's quite different, isn't it? So how does this work as a medium working in mediumship? Because how would you say it's very different from working with, say, somebody within spirit and then having an animal in the spirit world? Is there a big difference between the two?
I can only speak for myself personally, and I will be honest, for me, I don't feel there's a particular difference, because I do feel communication is about communication. The only difference is when you're connecting and communicating with an animal is their language, their communication is much more simplistic than, say, speaking to a human in the spirit world or in the physical body, so to speak, because animals do not have the baggage that we as humans have. It's like, if, example, we're going on holiday, it's like, well, if I do this, if I don't do this, I should do this, I should do that. Animals, if they're going away for the day, they're in the car, they're off, they're at the day. And it's a much more simplistic way of connecting and exchanging information between myself and the animal, which is actually quite nice. But because humans are this overactive, logical mind, we try to put too much conversation into the communication with animals, and we do not need to.
Yeah, that makes, do you know what, when you put it like that, it makes perfect sense. I never actually thought of it, to be fair, in that aspect, and it does make perfect sense when you talk about the baggage, and I like, with my dogs, when I put them in the car to go for a walk over fields, they're like, yeah, we're going out, come on, and that's it. So it makes perfect sense. I never looked at it like that. So Anita, explain your story. Okay, how did you know that you had this wonderful gift to be able to do this for animals?
My journey is really a very, very long one, and probably parts of it are very boring as well.
No, not at all. It's lovely to hear, because I'm sure, Anita, that there's a lot of people out there that have this gift and don't always share or talk about it. So you may be able to relate to others here.
I truly believe, with regard and communication, it is an ability we all have, to a sort of lesser or greater degree, depending on our own trust in ourselves, in the information that we and also the amount of time we may want to spend in being still. When I say by being still, to connect with an animal, you really need to be present with self and present with the animal, because if you think of yourself, say, in an environment where you go to a party or in a social situation and you're actually talking to one specific person, and then someone else comes in the room and your mind is over there, oh, there's so-and-so there, George has come in the room, or Sue's come in the room, and you've suddenly forgot about Joan you're talking with. When you connect with an animal, you have to have your attention completely with that animal. And this is where probably the most challenging part can be. And I will be the first to say, I have a monkey mind and communication. And you just need to literally condition yourself to just be present, which I would say is probably the most challenging part, but with practice we can all do that. But my earliest memory, I do feel as well, I do believe in soul purposes we have in this lifetime, and obviously we have many different lifetimes that we come over and incarnate in different lessons, different paths we want to learn, information we want to gather. And I do feel, I know I was only probably about less than 3 years of age, and walking along with my mum and my brother was in a buggy, and I was holding my mum's hand, and I saw this little tiny chick and I can see it so clearly even today, on the floor, had been pushed out of its nest by its mother, and I actually felt its pain, and I was around about 3 years of age, and I remember I was too young to comprehend that it was already dead, and that its mother had pushed it out of its nest because it probably was the runt at the time and it wasn't going to survive anyway, and it really pained me. And even though I think about it now, it still pains me. And I'm not a weirdo. I'm quite regular. I'm quite normal. And I remember sort of, Mum sort of took us in the house, and I was still crying about this poor chick, to the point, and in my end, my mum had to go out for her own sake, because I wouldn't stop crying, to pick, and what I wanted us to do was to go out to pick this chick up to try to save it. Now, I know she couldn't have saved, now as an adult, she could not have saved that chick, but she went out, she respected how I felt. She picked up that chick. She actually made a little space in the garden and buried it there. I was 3 years of age, roundabout. So that's really how far back my connection, I would say, is with animals. And I just do feel it's something I do come here with. And I was very fortunate to come into a household that we're all animal lovers. And I think that is also a start of my journey, because I wouldn't say that if I'd come into a household that had never had animals, I still feel I would have gone in that direction. But I just know I was at a start, let's say. Now, my dad, my accent might give it away. I come from East End of London, and my dad lived very near what was known then as Brick Lane, the market. And back then, and thankfully, thank God, things have changed, they used to sell animals down there massively. And my dad was always coming back on a Sunday with something from the market. Now, his mother mostly let him bring those animals home. However, I guess before my time, I was even born, he bought a monkey, which, thank God, I mean, when we look back at, this is like years ago, it's so cruel, but my dad was trying to help that monkey, and my nan made him take it back. So that animal empathy really, I would say, has come from my father, who he did pass quite young to the spirit world, but it never, then my granddad sort of stepped into his shoes. And my granddad, a big animal lover, loved horses, loved dogs, cats. As a child, I've virtually, apart from actually owning a horse, I've had every species of animal it's possible, pet animal that is that's possible, from fish to rabbits to guinea pigs to frogs, newts, the works. So I've always been there with me. And what I would say is I really, my passion back then, I would love to have been a vet, but I was always told by my mum it wasn't for me. I couldn't do it. I wasn't clever enough. And the reason why I wasn't clever enough, to be honest, was my own doing. I didn't like schoolwork. I didn't like studying. I like school.
I can relate to that.
What wasn't my thing. So anyway, I then sort of, I was very big into the dogs, and I went along the path of professional dog training as my career.
Wow, that's an incredible journey, though. And I never knew any of that about you, Anita, from being the age of so young, of 3 years old, when really that was the moment when it started to open up, wasn't it, by the sound of it for you? And I cannot believe you had a monkey. That's just incredible, with your dad coming home with this monkey. I know Brick Lane, and I know it used to happen, they always used to do that as well down Walthamstow Market. They used to have a space where people would sell, and lucky enough it's not available now. Thank God. Which is fantastic. But it's interesting when you talk about how it comes from your family lineage.
Yes.
Because I also find, not with everybody, but I can relate to this myself, is, as a medium, it comes from my family lineage as well. It comes down, and it's interesting to see that with yourself, yours is the animal communication that's come down your pathway, so I think that's just incredible. So I'm going to ask you a question, if that's okay. All right. Do all animals have a soul?
Yes, they do have a soul, and I can actually and different, obviously, belief systems will have their own way of processing this. And I mean, I know, is it Buddha? I'm not very up on all my religions, but I know that you come in and say as an insect, as a creature, and as you evolve, you develop, you then come to be human. I don't personally believe that. My belief is that we are as soul beings, and we are all soul beings. The soul is limitless. So if the soul is limitless, why would you not choose to have different bodily experiences, different growths, different aspects of our knowledge? And something that really, really makes me quite angry inside is when people, humans, do awful, cruel things around the world to their own species, to the Mother Earth, to animals, and people say, "Oh, they're like animals." Well, I'm sorry, animals do not behave like we do. We are disgraceful, I think, to Mother Earth, to be honest. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, because we don't. I know animals go out and they kill, but there's a natural process, natural circle of, fight, flight, and obviously in survival. What we do is not for survival in many aspects. So back to that question, as does all creatures have a soul? I truly believe that every living creature, regardless of its species, does have and will have a soul.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Anita. Completely. And the reason is because I've seen it many times. People have put things up on Facebook and things like this, and the people have actually said, "Oh, animals don't have souls" and things like this, and I'm like, I don't agree on that, because I think to myself, they're a living being, they're a living species, and they're the same as us, but more compassionate.
No, I know when I started journey, I read somewhere, and I can't quote the author, but as you just said, they said that animals do not have a soul; they have a soul group, and that really made me feel uncomfortable, because at that time I hadn't developed my own understanding of our soul purpose and animal communication. I was just beginning my journey, and I remember I looked at my own animals. I thought, but I love them so much; they love me so much. Why can I not have a soul? But again, as we grow and we develop and we gather more knowledge, and we know that the soul is limitless, that we would not, as human beings, just stay in the human type. I'd want to try to, what's it like to be, I used to say, when I was small, I'm going to marry a dog when I grow up. Because why would oh, no.
Oh, how funny. Oh, brilliant.
Try what it's like to say to be a bird and be free. Now my daughter, she as a small child is fascinated about being a bird and wants to be a bird, so she just free spirit, that sort of free spirit aspect. So, and I believe, like again with my daughter, maybe she was a bird in a previous life, that's why she has this free spirit within her. Yeah. I just think yes, and also I will share something with your viewers. Again, just a number of years ago, I actually believe the soul can leave the body before the actual physical incarnation has stopped. Okay, and because I feel here, I actually witnessed one of my dogs was very poorly, and we was going to the vet in the morning, and we knew it was going to be goodbyes. And I remember sort of about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up because he was unsettled. I looked over to where he was in the room, and he was just sitting there, and I sort of spoke to him, and I literally saw this amazing. It was like this white light, this pure white light. It was more than your human eyes could really comprehend, to be honest. And I saw his soul actually start to leave his body, even though his heart and his brain were still with us. But the next morning, he was gone, and I truly believe. Wow. I do believe when the soul, I feel that those in the spirit world that gather to help him, be it other animals, be it my family members, be it the angelic, I know that I saw he was helped and supported over before he actually passed over fully.
Wow, that's incredible, Anita. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing that, because not a lot of people talk about things like this, and I think it's really nice for any of the viewers to understand that their pets, their own pets, their own animal family, because I call mine are all my family. They're like my kids. Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really nice to know that they do transcend into spirit, that they do have a beautiful soul, and I think it's really nice as well for people to have that understanding, of that process, because being an animal lover myself, oh my gosh, I waited and waited for my little Sybil, bless her, for ages to come through and have this communication. And it actually took a year and a half
Yeah.
for that process to happen. But I needed that. I needed that experience. So, Anita, do you have it where people will, or can people book you, go onto your website? Can they book you to have a reading to bring through one of their pets rather than a person? Is that something that you offer, especially?
A large amount of my work is animal communication, and it actually crosses where I love it. It crosses. I work with animals that are physically here. There may be some reasons like behavioural issues. There may be rescue animal that they come to a home and one animal behaves a certain way. There may be issues where a person hears past their humans past, and we can help the animal to come to terms with that. But also I do quite a lot of communication. I'd say I do a lot of communication with animals of here and in the spirit world, because people, they want to know their animal's okay. And I think a lot of people's, and again, my own experiences, it's that time to say goodbye. And when we have said goodbye, sometimes we have to make a decision with love to let the animal go. And that can be one of the hardest things as any animal lover to say, to have to make that decision. Is today the right day? Is tomorrow the right day? Was yesterday the wrong day? I mean, but to know when the animal's on the other side, it's up there, it's running free, it's happy, it's healthy, it can walk again, it can breathe again, it's the ability to move again. And who are they with? I often see who they're with. They come through. I mean, recently I did a reading for someone who, it was a dog gone to spirit world, and I could see these rabbits. I said, I could see rabbits. And she said to me, my mum kept rabbits. We kept rabbits, and the dogs got on very well with the rabbits. I mean, don't be funny, you couldn't make that up, because most dogs want to chase the rabbits. I've had rabbits and I've had dogs. Most of my you don't let the dogs out sometimes rabbits, not normally. My house. And she said the dogs were fantastic with the rabbits, and there they were. I said, well, the rabbits just on the grass, they're not even in a hutch or anything. She said, no, they was fine together. And recently, a lovely one that touched my heart myself, actually, that I read for someone recently, was with her pet guinea pigs that are in the spirit world. And I think people, I mean, I love all animals, but dogs are a massive part of my life. But people, we as human beings, we are all unique, and we all have our own specific animal we resonate with or connect with. So it's never just the dog, the cat, the rabbit, the horse. It's across the spectrum. I've even communicated with a Bosque monitor, which, for those of you who wouldn't know, is a massive lizard. Because many people have reptiles as pets.
Wow, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Because that was another question I was going to ask you, actually. What is your most unique experience of communication with, an animal in spirit? Would it be that particular time?
That was a very unusual one, I would say, Sharon, and it probably was the most unusual one. And the animal was already in spirit. And this is what I was doing when I was doing my own, because I did train to do my own communication, because I'm one of these people, when I want to do something, I like to try and do it to the best of my ability. And that's just me, probably with a Virgo in me. So I did go on a course, and that was one of my case studies. And for those of you who have reptiles, you would understand that they have a period of, it's not called hibernation, it's called shutdown. And it's just like people, they rest and restore. And their human wasn't sure if the animal had actually was in like this sort of shutdown period, or had actually passed away. But all I could pick up on to start off with was the smell of decay. So we use, so we talk about communication. Again, the human brain comes in, and what do we think of a communication? What is communication to you? It's talking, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Communication is far more expansive than just talking. you know. It is about thoughts, about feelings. We use all of our senses, and I'm not about our clairs here. We use our senses, our physical senses, to connect and communicate with all species. You know, like think of, say, insects that communicate. They use pheromones to communicate. They don't say, hi, how are you this morning? You know, they use other aspects to communicate. And this is where animal communication is wonderful, because we're not just in a box with like, oh, what can I talk about today? We have all this expanse of senses that we bring into it. So again, back to that box monitor, it communicates to me in a way by the sense of my smell that it already passed over.
Wow. Well, and the thing is, animals, they do, especially dogs, rely on sense of smell. It's one of their key senses, isn't it? Yeah. So that actually makes really good sense, as the pound goes, you know, on how you would also communicate, because again, it's getting into that space, isn't it, of that being that animal and understanding and having that connection. Now we've got a question on here. They've put, what a wonderful gift. A friend of mine has just been attacked by her cat. So to be able to discover what's going on with the cat, would a reading help also? And would this help and cause the behavior? So is this something that you could possibly help with by having the communication with her cat to find out what's happening?
100%, because there would always be a reason why that cat, if it's not its normal behaviour, well, even if it was its normal behaviour, there's always an underlying reason why an animal behaves in a certain way. So if you think of animal communication using a communicator like myself, it's like having a three-way conversation, because there's me, the medium in the middle there, connected with the animal and communicating with the animal, to then come back to the human to relate how the animal feels and what is taking place within the animal. It could be change of circumstances. It could be it doesn't feel well. It could just be, you know, there's many aspects of why that cat would have reacted in that way. And again, then I would sort of talk with the human to get a perspective from them, back to myself, back to the cat, to sort of relay what's taking place.
Wow. So that could really help her understand what's going on.
That question. Yeah.
Super. So Anita, what is your website again? Because I'm going to put your website up in the chat here, because then that way people can be able to go onto your website, have a look at what you do, see how you could maybe help them with these sort of things.
Right, it's quite easy to remember my website. It's just my name, Anita Denise at denise.com. So ANISE.com.
Right, I've just put that up. Perfect. So so they've actually now just put, lovely, I'll get her to book a reading. And yes, it's a new kitten. So yeah, so it looks like, you know, maybe, you know, you can maybe help them there as well. And but also go on.
No, I was just saying, because I've got my animal training background, behaviour work, I've done a lot of behaviour work, obviously around dogs mostly, but it crosses over. So yes. That aspect, when I do my communication, I've also got the knowledge I've gathered from the qualifications I've got, trained, I've done professionally with behaviour work. So I do marry the two up.
Yeah, because you've done a lot of behaviour work with animals, I know that, and it's something that's a massive part of your life.
Yeah, I love it. I can't lie to you, I love it.
It's your passion, isn't it?
Passion, absolute passion. When I first met my husband, he came from a non-animal family, and I remember saying to him, love me, I love my dogs, or there, bye-bye, there you go.
And you've managed to now have 8 dogs, and even though he's not come from that sort of family background.
Yeah, and I've got 4 tortoises. I've got maybe 4 little tortoises out there, they've just come out of hibernation.
Oh wow, 4 tortoises as well. My gosh, that's wow. So I always for me, I always look at animals as angels. I always say angels, because especially like with dogs, all my dogs are rescue. Every one of mine are rescues. And no matter what's happened in their past, Nita, they still show so much love, so much compassion, and they have that trust still.
I think if you own unconditional love, get an animal, because animal truly, I feel, rather than human beings, most human beings anyway, they give unconditional love. They love without expectation and wanting anything in return. What they need somewhere nice to sleep, some food, and to be loved. That's all they are requiring and wanting. Someone who's going to love them like they love you, without expectations. And I think so. Animals truly have taught me what unconditional love is.
Yeah, so absolutely, and it is, isn't it? And that's why I feel like they're angels on this earth to teach the human race, compassion, kindness, loyalty, unconditional love, because sometimes it's the human beings, I feel, that lack that.
I think massively, and as you said, like I respect you so much, because you always have the rescue animals, and there are so many, not just dogs. There's so many damaged, rescued animals that need rescuing out there, and really, if it weren't for sort of people like yourself, Kerry, who do the work to help the animals to find homes, to find placements, because sometimes these animals are they still want to be loved, looked after and cared for. And unfortunately, I think in some aspects, when there's money involved, the wrong people get involved in rescue as well.
Absolutely, definitely.
It should always be the animals' needs and wants should be paramount. And I think that like yourself, Kerry, that is so important, because the animal still trusts you, wants you, loves you, and needs to be respected.
Yeah. Definitely. And this is the thing, it's very much even though we've rescued them, I actually look that they've also rescued us.
Yeah.
Because they do give back that unconditional love of not asking for a lot, just wanting to be cared for, and dogs, I feel, are really good therapy as well. So, Anita, if anyone is looking to really step into this and unfold their own development of animal communication, is this something that you teach as well?
I do teach animal communication courses. I also have the ability to accredit my courses. So if someone wants to then go on and do their own animal communication courses themselves and train and work with animals and get insured professionally, I also have that ability. And I will be honest, I don't run them massively, so I don't have a great deal of time because I'm quite busy with my work and other aspects of my life. But we do have the course coming up in March, where it will be next year, 2023, where we do animal communication in Essex over a 4-day period, where they get plenty of aspects of tasters to actually, be involved in animal communication training. That I may do something probably latter part of next year as well, but this year pretty much the next course I will do regards to animal communication will be a accredited course later this year in October. That will be for people who's already done my courses already.
Fantastic. So is all that information on your website, and can people, is there a booking aspect there, or is that in process at the moment?
My courses are not on there. I tend to put them more on because I have a group on Facebook where I put all my animal communication courses, workshops and lives do go on there, to be honest, which is animal communication with Anita Denise. So a lot of the information is more on there. On my website is basically you can book via my email address. Basically, I do it online because that way. I just like to be, I'm saying it's awful, in control, but because I've got 8 dogs, my life has been pretty bad with work and aspects. So booking system, basically, you can either email me from my website, or literally if it's on Facebook, I've got WhatsApp and you can use Messenger. So as aspects of doing it all from there.
So I'm actually in your group of Anita Denise Animal Communication on Facebook. It's a great group, and you actually have taught me a lot. There was an aspect on there. You done a lovely write-up about starfish, and
Remember
Yeah,
that?
and it was great. And when I was in Jamaica this year, and we was out on this boat, and we went to this area. Oh my gosh, this I've never seen so many starfish, and they were huge, massive. And the guy on the boat was going, he said a few things about the starfish, and I said to him, yeah, also, rah, 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 rah. And he went to me, wow. How do you know all that? I said, my friend does animal communication. I said, and she put up all on a group about starfish. But it was so interesting. I do find your group is really informative with animals, about animals. So taking this into another aspect here as well, Anita, you've recently launched an amazing package of your own animal communication deck of cards, and I have to say the artwork is spectacular. Are they easy to work with, and would you recommend to work with them as well to get, to sort of really gain a little bit more of an understanding?
I mean, I don't want to say, because obviously they're my cards, and so I don't want to sort of push them because of that aspect. But they are, I feel, an amazing deck of cards. I mean, in fact, if anyone does want to go onto my website, they can. There's a free draw there. They can literally just put their email address in, and they'll get given a card. They get a message given to them. They can come back as often as they like. So you get a taste of the cards and how they work. The meshes I get from the animals are channeled from myself. The lovely Linda, she done the artwork for me, but I sat and channeled those meshes, and those meshes are a fantastic. All the messages, I will say to you, are I very much love to work in the light. I think there's enough dark in our lives, just like, I don't mean dark. I mean, just like literally put the news on, oh, I don't want that today. You put this on, oh, I don't want that. And so I just think that just life in general, there's just so much stuff taking place. But animals, the messages that come from the animals, they are very they're very profound messages, but also inspiring and empowering to sort of help you move forward. The cards, I would even say to you, because I feel because I feel so passionate about the animals, they are suitable for children. A 3-year-old child could pick those cards up, play with them. There's no words on them. All there is, like I'll say, for example, shark. You've got a lovely picture of a shark, the word shark. So they could even be used like as flashcards for children to learn animals and different aspects of animals, and just get a feel that animal feels to you, what it means to me, and behind it's a message. I mean, again, I've got friends that my I call my doggy friends, they're just like who are not into what we do as work as mediums. They use a card just to give them, one of the guys, that one of my friends, he has a message every day that he pulls for himself, a card for the day, just to inspire him and give him a few words. And he says so often it puts him on the right track for the morning. So the cards are very uplifting, they're very empowering, the colors are beautiful, and they're just excellent, I just feel, here to help you to get in tune with your own animal instincts, because let's not forget, we too are animals.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that we don't really take in consideration.
We don't, because again, the human brain comes in, and we do that disconnect of who we are and what we are, and we are again, from we are mammals, we are animals, and this is why I personally believe that we can all communicate with animals, because animals find a way of communicating with each other.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of because it would be in our DNA back from the hunter-gatherer days, when we would use our own intuitiveness to find shelter, to find food, to find our mate even. And that's how animals connect and keep their species alive.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's very, and you say it's that natural instinct within them. So earlier on, Anita, I can't help but go back to something you said, earlier on. And you said earlier that sometimes, you've had to help animals because they have actually lost their loved one, like their owner, their master, or so is this something else that you do as well? Because I never looked at it like that, because I've always, I suppose, looked at it from the human aspect, our need.
Yeah.
And looked at it like, oh my gosh, I've lost my pet and I'd like to go and have a reading and see if my pet comes through. But and when we lose anyone in our lives, it affects us because we go through a grief stage. So when we talk about this, our animals also go through this when their owners passed.
Yes, they do. Yeah, and often, and not to be disrespectful, people try to do the best for the animal. It may go on to live, say, with Auntie Sue or somewhere else. Sometimes, unfortunately, they have to go into a rescue home, because there's no one there to take the animal. I mean, there is a wonderful charity called the Cinnamon Trust that will take animals in like that, and they go to like foster homes until they can be found another home. But it's in that interim period where the animal may have been, especially like sometimes, we'll have our own life circumstances, but often you may get an older person and has got their animal, cat or dog, and they're very much entwined. They're so together. These two souls are joined, and then that human's gone, and that animal is lost.
Yeah.
Of home, change of the human's gone, change of everything. They're in total. Their whole body's in trauma. And I do a lot of work with that. And where again, I do a lot of the bark flower remedies, which are excellent with animals. So we think of rescue remedy, but I actually have the ability to prescribe energy medicine for animals as well. So even though if I may work online, I can advise the human what will best help the animal who's going through grief, shock and trauma. And often people forget that when we have a multi-animal household and a pet passes over, we're grieving. What about those other animals down there? They're also grieving as well.
Yeah.
And we often overlook that.
Yeah, and people do, don't they? Because you just think, oh, they're just getting on with things, when really the animals need support as well. I think that is marvelous with what you do there, definitely, especially when you're helping grieving animals. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And that must be so rewarding to you. How does it make you feel after you've done that and you've made that difference?
This is a little bit strange. This because I feel I just feel so connected with the animals. I feel emotional that, like, if a friend had lost someone, I feel like that, and you want to support them, you want to help them. It's not really about me, if that makes sense. It's not about me at all. It's about, I get satisfaction that I may have helped the human and their animal to enhance that relationship. That's where I get this, and to be satisfied that if someone's become that animal's new carer, that I've given them some tools, some support, some advice that they can help the animal, and just to hear the animal is doing okay is all I want to feel.
That's fantastic, Anita. Fantastic. So I also would like to say, in March 2023, you are teaching at spiritual mastery events, Master Your Arts. And you are also teaching, some of the lessons are going to be animal communication, aren't they?
They are, and I'm so looking forward to it. I've always got my lesson plans in mind, and we can also be looking at animal communication. But also, I feel this is really, the more I sort of develop my own understanding of animal communication, is looking at animal spirit guides and their totem animal, and how that acts on the animals that we bring into our lives as well.
Yeah, and that's incredible as well. And I came to you the other week for an energy healing session and cleansing session, and I had no idea what was going to be in stock or what was going to happen. I was like, I just surrender to this, Anita, it's fine, and I actually got to meet my animal guide, my totem animal. And I never thought of it before, but then, and it was this beautiful wolf that appeared. And then you said to me, yeah, but Kerry, you've got 10 dogs. Of course, I'm not surprised. And I was like, oh yeah, actually. So that was fantastic. So that's something else that you can actually help with, isn't it? You can help people also understand their totem animal of who helps them and guides them is with them.
And also the spirit animal that comes into your life at different times. And that's where my cards are great, because again, you can draw a card to bring the essence of a particular spirit animal in. So just upon you one day, you might feel lacking energy, and you might, let's have a bee today, but busy bee, bring some energy in. So you can use them in that aspect as well. But also, because each animal will have its own individual message, whether it's the totem animal or your spirit guide animal, which changes often. Not your totem, but your spirit animal.
Yeah, incredible, Anita. So if anyone on here is watching this, okay, if you would like to book a reading for animal communication with Anita, please go over to our website, which is www.anitadenise.com. Also on there, you will find the link to also being able to purchase Anita's beautiful cards. The artwork is fantastic, and they've been made out of love, absolutely. And also all of Anita's newsletters, people can subscribe, and also they can join your Facebook group, which is Anita Denise Spirit Communication, Animal Communication rather. Animal Communication, sorry, on Facebook group, which is free to join, isn't it?
Pretty free. It's one of those groups. I don't want anything negative in there. Not because just there's enough. We've got that. It's all about animals. It's all animal related stuff. I will put information about that. But if something comes up technology wise, it's just all animal related aspects. And a bit of guidance regarding animal communication for yourself. You have a little dabble for yourself. I do put that in there. I also put the cards in there once a week for messages for people. And time allowing, I do try to do some regular lives, maybe one a month. And also I do offer regular healing on there for Reiki, distant Reiki healing for people that own animals.
Fantastic.
On there.
Fantastic. Wow. Anita, it has been so interesting speaking with you, because this is really quite an unusual facet that you offer of spirituality. So it's very different. It's quite amazing with what you do. I highly recommend you, Anita. I do send everyone to you who wants to have the animal communication there, because I know what it's like having my own dogs and lost a lot of dogs as well within spirit. So Anita, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. I'm afraid we have come to the end of our interview, and thank you. And we're having you again in the next couple of months, and that is something completely different that we're going to be talking about.
Completely.
Yeah, so watch this space, everybody, okay, to see Anita again, and we're going to keep that as a surprise for the next one.
And thank you so much for inviting me along, Kerry. I've absolutely enjoyed sharing my little bit of knowledge with your viewers, so thank you for having me.
Thank you, Anita. Well, take care, everybody. And again, the website for Anita is on the comments. Feel free to have a little look at Anita's website, and feel free to join her Facebook group, which is Anita Denise Animal Communication on Facebook. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.